What is your favorite space movie of all time? Mine has to be Interstellar, no questions asked. I'm a big fan of Hans Zimmer and black holes and IMAX. That's all great when you jam them together. But are these cosmic sci-fi tales possible in any way, shape, or form? What have astronauts actually seen? Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm Taylor McWaters, and here are the top 10 scary astronauts who came from the future. Number 10, Al Worden. American test pilot, engineer, and NASA astronaut Alfred Merrill Worden. He was the module pilot for the Apollo 15 lunar mission back in 1971. Now, after Apollo 15 reached lunar orbit, Worden spent 3 days alone in said module. Just space things, just journaling out some space thoughts, traveling the furthest out there from any other human ever. It's a lonely road, I'm betting. After Al returned, the crew and him became involved in a NASA controversy over postage stamps that they had taken to the moon. Yeah, it turns out you can't litter there as well. Can't litter here nor there. Littering's bad everywhere. That rhymed. Let's hit that thumbs up. I don't know. They were reprimanded by NASA and did not fly in space ever again because of postage stamps. Or was there something else involved? Worden remained at NASA until 1975, and then he entered the private sector. And then it gets a little weird. On a British television morning show, when Al Worden was asked about why we should return to the moon, he replied, "Survival of our species." That's always odd when an astronaut says that, huh? When asked about alien life existing out there, Al's response was to get books on the ancient Sumerians and see what they had to say about it. Do you feel like Al Worden saw some shit? I feel like Al Worden saw some shit. Number 9, Edgar Mitchell. US Navy officer, aviator, test pilot, engineer, all that good stuff. And most importantly, NASA astronaut. He was a lunar module pilot of Apollo 14 back in 1971, and he spent 9 hours working on the lunar surface. He was the 6th person to walk on the moon. He was walking while Worden was up there drifting in the currents of space. So that's a dream team right there. Mitchell publicly expressed his opinions that he was sure that the thousands of UFOs that he saw belonged to other planets. Again, thousands of UFOs that he saw in space. So I can't breathe. That's very scary. Dateline NBC conducted an interview with Mitchell in 1996 where he talked about meeting officials from 3 different countries who all claimed to have met extraterrestrials in person at some point. It's a lot of officials and a lot of meetings with a lot of weird handshakes, I bet. In 2004, he told the St. Petersburg Times that the US government was studying alien bodies. In 2008, Mitchell was interviewed and he claims that the Roswell crash was indeed real and that aliens have contacted humans several times, but the government's hidden the truth now for 60 years. Yeah, he sadly passed away in 2016, so we can't ask him any more questions. But do we believe? Do we? I kinda do. I don't know. James Webb? He definitely believes. Number 8, Chris Hadfield. Retired Canadian astronaut, engineer, fighter pilot, and musician. Oh, okay. In 1992, Chris Hadfield was accepted into the Canadian astronaut program. He first flew in space in 1995, and since then, he's seen tons of stuff up there, just zipping around apparently. He says he can't explain it, but he also isn't running with it. He says, quote, "To see something in the sky that you don't understand, and then to immediately conclude that it's an intelligent life form from another solar system is the height of foolishness and lack of logic." End quote. Also, end roast. Oh my god. However, he thinks that there could potentially be alien life, and that is in the clouds of Venus, or on the distant moons of one of our gas giants. That's his best guess, so honestly, yeah. Fair, more than fair. Number 7, James McDivitt. James McDivitt is an American test pilot, Air Force pilot, engineer, and NASA astronaut who flew in both the Gemini and Apollo programs. That's a fat resume right there. It's good God, nice. After graduating first in his class with a Bachelor of Science degree in aeronautical engineering, in 1962 McDivitt was selected by NASA for the Gemini 4 mission. And in 1965 he saw, filmed, and photographed an object, which apparently approached the Gemini 4 as they were orbiting Earth. Now this all happened right over Hawaii. Major James McDivitt describes this as a cylindrical object that was white with a long arm that stuck out on the side. The film was sent back to NASA and reviewed by some NASA film technicians, but once it was returned, it was not the same photo. This one was a photo of sun reflection on the window. Yeah, the old NASA swap. Gotcha. We got the secret one here, tucked away in that secret Vault app on our iPod Touch. That's where that photo is. Do we believe this? I don't know, I kinda do. In 1975, McDivitt said it was something he definitely couldn't identify. It looked like a beer can with a pencil sticking out of it, so party on, dude. 25 years of experience. What could he possibly seen? I don't know, now I'm questioning my existence. Number 6, Spaceman. Okay, we've all been photobombed before. It's a blessing in disguise, right? thing. But when Jim Templeton took a photo of his daughter in an empty marsh long before Photoshop existed, it appears an astronaut photobombed this family moment. Now Jim assures us that nobody was around, which I believe, or else what a weird photo to take in an empty field, right? It's weird in all parties. Also, the fact that this man looks like he's from space makes it a bit more believable, makes it a bit more jarring to look at. What are we seeing right now? This is so creepy. Kodak, like, you know, the photo company Kodak, they got involved in the story. They confirmed this photo wasn't tampered with. Yeah, let's run everything by Kodak from now on, I guess. They're so confident. They're like, no, it's fake. I'm like, how do you know? Oh my God. Mr. Kodak, stop. Number 5, Black Knight satellite. Not to be confused with Martin Lawrence's Black Knight, although that's pretty historical and memorable in itself, but a little different. The Black Knight satellite is something that's been orbiting our planet for thousands of years, apparently. And we still question its existence and, you know, where it came from. Alien astronaut from the future trying to warn Earth? That's a good theory I read. Sure, why not? Let's lean into there. I buy it. This photo you've probably seen at one point or another. It was taken back in 1998 during an American mission to the International Space Station. Now, during a spacewalk in 98, one of the thermal covers came loose and drifted away from the station. So could this be that cover? If so, what did it catch onto? And why does everybody want it to be an alien night so badly? These photos shared originally by NASA look a lot different than a solar sail. I'll happily admit, it looks like an alien. Number 4, the time traveler. Do you believe in time travel? If your answer is no, just go back to the beginning of this video and then, you know, there you go, you've done it. Fooled me somehow. If your answer is no, maybe this will change your mind. I don't know. It's a common theme in movies. You see it in Back to the Future, Looper, Avengers. Time travel plots are fun, but they're absolute obviously. But when we see a case like the Cape Scott story, we can't help but be intrigued a little, right? We want to believe just a bit. Could it be? Is it possible? This is an interesting photo. Let's talk about it. It comes from Ray Peterson's book, The Great Cape Scott Story. Now that book was from 1974, but the actual photo in it was taken over 100 years ago from our date right now. In this photo, we see this modern looking guy rocking shorts, messy morning surfer hair. He looks kind of cool. I don't know. The dude looks like Tony Stark. He looks casual as shit. He doesn't look like he's from that time period at all. Now, many believe he's an astronaut or a time traveler who got stuck in time and just went with it, which is half hilarious, but also half terrifying. That's not an early 1900s man. There's no chance. Don't they all have monocles and big mustaches and walk with a cane? I don't know. I'm watching a lot of Peaky Blinders right now. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Number 3, Gordon Cooper. Leroy Gordon Cooper, Jr. He's an American aerospace engineer, test pilot, US Air Force pilot, you name it. And he's the youngest of the 7 original astronauts in Project Mercury, aka the first human space program of the United States. Not too shabby. In Cooper's autobiography, Leap of Faith, he recounts his experiences with the Air Force and NASA and a UFO conspiracy. We love those. Cooper claimed to have seen his first UFO while flying over Germany. Cooper also claimed that up until his death that the US was covering up many UFO operations. He said there were hundreds of reports made by his fellow pilots as well, and many of them coming from military pilots on radar. In his memoirs, Cooper wrote that he had seen unexplained aircraft many times throughout his career, and in 1978 he actually testified before the United Nations on the topic. Put your hand on a book for aliens? That's crazy. That's what now? Number 2, Buzz Aldrin. Yes, the astronaut who punches back. We love Buzz Aldrin. American astronaut, engineer, fighter pilot with a doctorate of science in astronautics. You lose this street fight every day, my friend. Mr. Aldrin performed 3 spacewalks in 1966, and of course in 1969, he did the Apollo 11 mission, where he and Neil Armstrong were the first 2 people ever to land on the moon. Now, Buzz said that he saw something out there. He's confident. Close enough to be observed, so, you know. Quote, I observed a light out the window that appeared to be moving alongside us. What could that be other than a spacecraft from another country or another world? It was either the rocket that had separated from us or the 4 panels that moved away when we extracted the lander, right? End quote. He asks us. I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't up there, man. No idea. I've seen Gravity. I have no idea what you're talking about. After he returned from his missions, he was convinced that he saw aliens while he was out there. He took a lie detector test after talking about this incident and he passed. So that's jarring. Buzz thinks that there's a monolith on Phobos, which is one of the moons that orbits Mars. It actually orbits it every 7 hours. Buzz thinks there's a monolith just sitting there. He says when people find out about that, they're gonna say, who put that there? Okay, great question. Who put this giant monolith there on that moon? Was it aliens? Future humans? Was it Buzz Aldrin? Who knows? And finally, number 1, Michael Collins. NASA veteran and the very first driver up there, Mr. Michael Collins, served as command module pilot on the historic Apollo 11 mission back in 1969. Now, when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon for the first time, Collins was parking. He was just hanging up. He was feeding the meter, for lack of a better term, while everyone else was, hopping around. Mr. Collins stayed up there by himself in lunar orbit, waiting for the safe return of his crewmates. Just by himself. That's terrifying. The astronaut retired from NASA in 1970, and he spent his time answering questions on Twitter, because that's pretty fun. That's what some astronauts do, I guess, now. And some of these questions were really interesting. Are we alone? Hashtag Ask Michael Collins. He wrote in his book saying things like, quote, I am alone now, truly alone and absolutely isolated from any known life. Although I may feel like I am the same person, I also feel like I'm different from other people. I've been places and done things you simply would not believe. Collins circled the moon once every 2 hours, so what could he possibly have seen out there alone? Hey, what's scarier, walking on an unknown rock that apparently no one has ever visited, or flying all the way around it by yourself in the pitch black with no communications? I would say the latter, definitely the latter. I would not want to sit in the dark room. I can't even sit in my bedroom alone in the dark, let alone orbit a fucking moon. No way. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you next time for more space fun, fear. I don't even know. I'm never sleeping again. I don't like space. See you later.